Hi and welcome to our channel. Today I'm going to explain a movie called Splice. Released in the year 2009. Sit back and enjoy the movie and please don't forget to subscribe. The movie opens with two genetic scientists, Clive and Elsa. They both are a couple and they perform experiments with different genes of animals for medical advancements. They work for a pharmaceutical company called NERD, which stands for Nucleic Exchange Research and Development. Clive and Elsa combine different animal genes to create a new species to extract the proteins from these new species and make medicines for different diseases. Now, the couple has successfully created a new creature and they name him Fred. Fred is the size of a dog but looks completely the opposite. They already created a female of Fred's species and named her Ginger. Clive and Elsa introduce Fred to Ginger and they both bond at first sight like lovers. This was a great success because Ginger and Fred would give birth to more new species. The couple takes their results to their boss Joan Corrit and shows her. They reveal that the company can make a lot of medicines from their new species, so they have devised a new procedure to combine human DNA with their new creation to create another species that might cure incurable diseases like Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's, and even some forms of cancer. Their manager, William, starts getting anxious and tells them to hold their horses. Their boss, Joan, congratulates them for their work and notifies them that everyone is very impressed by their work, even the board of directors. However, they are not going to proceed with human DNA experiments yet because they need a new product for the company to thrive. So, they are going to shut down their research for now and start manufacturing a new medicine from their current new species. Clive and Elsa argue that if they don't work with human DNA now, then someone else will and they'll steal their profit. Joan reassures them that the company will continue their research, but until then, they need to come up with a new medicinal product that they can launch in the market to generate profit. The couple leaves in anger and decides to continue their research secretly without any organization's interference. Elsa brings in a human DNA from an anonymous donor and the pair gets to work. They fail again and again until Elsa brings in another human DNA, called M3. They start experimenting with the new DNA, combining it with their new animal species DNA and getting positive results. They created a completely new DNA from human and animal DNA, although Elsa was adamant to experiment further, but Clive was against this research because it was illegal and morally unethical. Elsa takes the DNA and runs into a room where they have set up a biotech machine that works as an artificial womb, so Elsa injects the new DNA in it. The machine starts working and the DNA starts turning into a fetus. Clive hesitates to comply, stating that it's unethical to create a creature and kill it afterward. Elsa enlightens him that millions of people die daily due to incurable diseases and no hope. This could prevent that. Clive agrees to research further. They discover that the fetus is growing very quickly, which means the creature will age quickly and die quickly. The next day, the couple gets an alert from their lab regarding the new creature, so they immediately rush to the lab. They see that the fetus of the creature is fully developed, so they try to take it out of the machine. The creature attacks Elsa in the machine, but they eventually get it out and contain it. Clive sees it as an abomination and tries to end its life, but Elsa convinces him otherwise. The next day, Clive makes up his mind to destroy it, but when they reach the lab, they discover it's already dead. Elsa opens its container to examine the creature, but when she flips it, she sees it's an empty shell and the creature inside it has gotten out. The creature comes to light in front of Elsa and it's a small bizarre creature with 2 legs but no arms. It gets aggressive and smashes everything around, but Elsa takes her mask off and behaves politely to interact with it. The creature calms down and interacts with Elsa until Clive arrives with a rod to save Elsa. He drags Elsa out and decides to exterminate it by releasing poisonous gas. Elsa reminds him that the creature has a short lifespan, so they should observe it because they can learn a lot. They start examining and observing the creature, discovering that it's a female. The female creature starts evolving within a month and grows arms and begins to develop a functioning brain. Elsa starts bonding with her, feeds her, and teaches her the alphabet. Elsa teaches her to spell her name, but the creature spells out nerd because Elsa's shirt says nerd. Clive arrives and still resents the creature. He asks Elsa who let the creature out and why her tail isn't covered. Elsa tells him not to call her a creature and names her Dren because it's nerd spelled backward. A few days later, Clive's younger brother Gavin discovers Dren and realizes that his brother has been doing illegal experimentation. Gavin also works where Clive works and he can report Clive but doesn't. Now, it was time for Clive and Elsa to reveal Fred and Ginger, their original mixed species organism, to the press and their investors. The press conference ends in a bloodbath when they release Fred and Ginger together in a cage and they both stab each other to death. Elsa and Clive examine the remains and discover that Ginger had changed her gender because she had a mixture of animal DNA including fish DNA, and some fish can change their gender. Their boss Joan gets furious and orders them to stop their research and focus on the new product for the market. On the other hand, Dren is slowly becoming an adult female, so Elsa and Clive decide to shift Dren to a farmhouse where no one can find her. There, she runs away at night, so Elsa and Clive go after her, eventually finding her eating a live rabbit in the bushes. They take her back and raise her in the farmhouse. After a few days, Dren starts feeling bored and wants to leave, but the couple doesn't let her. Dren starts smashing things in the farmhouse and escapes by climbing the roof. Clive and Elsa climb after her and witness Dren grow her wings. Dren tries to fly away, but Clive finally opens up to Dren. He confesses how much they love her and they need her. Dren gets emotional and hugs Clive. Now, Clive spends some time with her and bonds with her. He senses Dren getting attracted towards him and realizes that Dren has Elsa's DNA in her. That means M3 was Elsa's DNA. Afterwards, Elsa brings a cat for Dren as a present, but Dren is starting to dislike Elsa, so she stabs the cat in the neck with her tail stinger and murders it. Elsa gets furious and slaps Dren. Dren fights back and drops Elsa on the ground. She steals the door key from Elsa and frees herself from the farmhouse. But Elsa smacks her on the head, rendering her unconscious. While Clive drives to the farmhouse, Elsa ties Dren on the table and cuts off Dren's stinger from her tail. Clive arrives and gets worried, but Elsa reminds him they need Dren's DNA for the protein they have to develop because Dren has way more protein in her than Fred and Ginger. Subsequently, Elsa starts developing the protein and successfully creates it. She goes to the company and hands it over to her manager, William. Back at the farmhouse, Clive visits Dren and finds her standing behind him, fully nude and spreading her wings. She forcefully kisses Clive and they start making love. Dren grows her tail stinger back while Elsa walks in on them. She drives away in tears while Clive tries to stop her. He eventually catches up with Elsa at their apartment and they both hash it out. They both realize that Dren was their mistake and they have to put an end to Dren, once and for all. Back at the farmhouse, they discover that Dren is dying because she has a short lifespan and eventually dies. The couple buries her right outside of the farmhouse at night while Clive's brother, Gavin, arrives with their manager William, who now knows everything about Dren. He orders Clive to show him the creature because they found human DNA in the protein, so he knows. Elsa reveals that it's too late because Dren is dead and they buried her. Suddenly, they hear a loud shriek from Dren's grave. They run towards it and find the grave empty and see Dren standing on the farmhouse, but more evolved than before. She flies off and one by one attacks them, eventually taking William and Gavin's life. She attacks Clive and knocks him unconscious, so Elsa makes a run for it. Elsa escapes and runs in on a branch of a tree, allowing Dren to catch her. Just like Ginger, Dren had also changed her gender and became a male. Dren forces himself on Elsa and violates her by impregnating Elsa. Clive arrives late and stabs Dren in the back, but it doesn't do any damage. Dren heals and drops Clive, but Elsa smashes Dren's head with a giant rock. Dren still doesn't die and manages to murder Clive, so Elsa squishes Dren's head completely, defeating him once and for all. Now, after some time, Elsa is pregnant with Dren's child and meets her boss Joan. Joan reveals their company profited a lot from the protein she developed and they want to continue their research with human DNA sampling. She offers Elsa a huge sum of money for all the troubles she has faced recently and informs her that she can get an abortion anytime she wants. Elsa takes the money and doesn't abort the child, saying what's the worst that could happen, and the movie ends here. If you like our video, kindly subscribe our channel and press the bell icon so that you don't miss our new video, and also leave a comment. It encourages us for making more content. Thanks.